Hello students, welcome to Unorthodox Learning YouTube channel, and today we will study a story, The Blue Bead. Get ready with your pen and book, and please write down the notes in your book itself. Please write down the meanings which I will be telling you. As it is a big story, we'll complete this story in 3 different videos. This is the first video and we'll begin the story. So in the beginning, the mood of the story expresses an aura of fascination and curiosity. Then the mood transfers into unease and a sense of doubt. This Blue Bead story is a story of exciting jungle adventure. In this, the protagonist of the story is a 12 years old girl, Sibia. The name of the girl is Sibia. And this is a story about an encounter between Sibia and a crocodile, a big crocodile. And this was an everyday event for her. As she was a forest girl, she used to live in forest in a village which was very near to forest. So it was an everyday event for Sibia. Now let's begin. From deep water came the crocodile. From deep water. From where the crocodile come? The crocodile came from the deep water. Out of black water here symbolizes dirty. Out of black water curved with whirlpools and into the frill of gold shallows by the stepping stones. The crocodile came out from deep water, and that water was black because it was dirty water, and that crocodile came out from water. That is why the water was like a whirlpool. Whirlpool means swirling body of water. Swirling means moving in circular motion. So the water was moving in circular motion, and the crocodile came out from that water, and it moved into the frill of gold shallows by the stepping stones. By the stepping stones, the crocodile moved into the golden shallows. Gold shallow. Shallow means, shallow is a place where there is less water. So out of deep water, the crocodile moved to the shallow water, and it was gold shallow because bright sunlight was falling on the sand which was there in the shallow water, and the sand was shining brightly. That is why it is called as gold shallows. So the crocodile came out from dirty deep water, and it moves to the shallows. He was twice the length of a tall man, and inside him, among the stones which he had swallowed to aid digestion, rolled a silver bracelet. Whenever you will explain about the crocodile, you will add this line that he was twice the length of a tall man. Whenever there is a description about the crocodile, you will add this line, he was twice the length of a tall man. The other description will come in other stanzas, paragraphs. So he was twice the length of a tall man. That means it was a huge big crocodile, and inside him the crocodile, to digest food, the crocodile used to swallow some stones, so that whenever it will roll on sand, when the crocodile will roll on sand to digest food, then those pebbles or those stones will help in the digestion of food, will help to digest the food quickly. So this crocodile had swallowed some stones, and among those stones there was a silver bracelet also which he had swallowed. Timber was being floated down this great Indian river from forest further up, and there were slippers lying stuck around the stones until someone came to dislodge them and send them on their way, or until floods lifted them and jostled them along. The crocodile had no need to hide himself. He came to rest in the glassy shallows among logs and balanced there on tiptoes on the rippled sand, with only his raised eyes out of water and raised nostrils breathing the clean sunny air. Timber was being floated. Timber means wood. There was a forest. It was great Indian river there, and there was a forest up on the cliff or on the mountain or on the height. There was a forest, and wood was cut from that forest, from the trees, and it was thrown into the river. And this was a technique to transport logs of wood to different places by using that river. The timber used to flow on water, the wood used to flow on water, and those logs of wood would flow in the direction of water, and it would reach to its place. But here some logs of wood, sleepers means logs of wood, were lying stuck around the stones, and these log of wood would stuck until a human force is applied on them, means someone came to dislodge them or send them on their way, or until there is flood. Means the two conditions by which these stuck logs of wood can be dislodged or dislocated, the two conditions are they should be applied with some human force, or there should be floods which can jostle them. Jostle them means to move them through. And the crocodile had no need to hide himself because it was a huge creature. There is no need to hide himself. He came to rest. Why did the crocodile come out from the deep water, and what was he doing in the shallows? The crocodile came out to take rest in the glassy shallows among the logs. And what did he do in the shallows? He balanced his body on tiptoe. Tiptoes means on the tips of his toes. So he balanced there on the tiptoes and rippled sand. Rippled means wavy, covered with small waves. So on the rippled sand, it was that crocodile was taking rest, and raised nostrils breathing the clean sunny airs. Only his eyes and his nostrils were out of the water body to breathe the clean sunny air. Now the motive behind the crocodile coming out from deep water. Crocodile came out from deep water to take rest. Why were his eyes and nostrils out of the body of water? Because he wanted to have clean sunny air, and he was waiting for his prey. Around him, broad sparkling water travelled between cliffs and grass and forested hills. The jungle track came out of scrub. Each side and down the sun-whitened stepping stones on which a little flycatcher was flirting and trilling along. The mugger crocodile, blackish brown above and yellowy white under, lay motionless, able to wait forever till food came. Now in this paragraph, these are the places the river has crossed. The great Indian river has crossed. What are these places? Cliffs. What are these places? Cliffs. It means around him, broad sparkling water travelled between cliffs and grass and forested hills. So these are the places where the river has crossed. Cliffs means high rock face. And there was a jungle track, means a road from jungle, came out of scrub. Scrub means small bushes. So there was a jungle track, and each side on that track there were small bushes and sun whitened stepping stones. Means stepping stones, there were stones which were white, shining brightly, or they were white because of bright sunlight. And on those stones there was a little flycatcher. A flycatcher is a type of bird that catches and eats flying insects. And flirting means flying quickly from one place to other. Flirting means flying from one place to other quickly. And trilling means turning or spinning round and round. So this flycatcher, this bird which used to catch and eat flying insects, it was flirting. It was moving quickly, flying quickly from one place to other and turning or spinning around and round. And there a question may be asked from this, that what made the crocodile move? This was the only thing which made crocodile move, and that is a little flycatcher flirting and trilling. Now the description of crocodile is given. The mugger crocodile. Mugger crocodile means very big, freshwater crocodile of Indian subcontinent. So the mugger crocodile, blackish brown above and yellowish white under, lay motionless, able to wait forever till food came. So this was a big crocodile. It was blackish brown from above, and the part of its body which is underwater, it lay motionless, and that was yellowy white under. This antediluvian saurian means ancient or prehistoric or very old reptile. This prehistoric juggernaut. Juggernaut means, here I have written, a metaphorical object regarded as unstoppable that will crush all in its path. Means a metaphorical object regarded as unstoppable. No one can stop it, and that will crush all in its path. So these are the words which symbolize that the crocodile was very strong enough. Juggernaut, prehistoric juggernaut, ferocious and formidable. Formidable means causing fear. Ferocious and formidable means causing fear. A vast force in water propelled by the unimaginable and irresistible power of the huge tail. This crocodile has a huge tail, and because of the huge tail, it can cause a vast force in water, which is unimaginable and irresistible because of the huge tail. Lay lapped. Lapped means surrounded by ripples. A throb in his throat. And throb means a sound similar to that of undulating water. A throb in his throat means he was making sound. His mouth, running almost the whole length of his head, was closed and fixed in that evil bony smile, and where the yellow underside came up to it, it was tinged with green. The yellow underside was tinged with green means bottom of his body was slightly green, and his mouth was very wide and broad, and the whole length of his head it was running, the mouth was running whole length of his head, and there was an evil bony smile means appearance looks evil. His appearance is evil. Now turning the next page. From the day perhaps 100 years ago. This line suggests the age of the crocodile. That means the crocodile is above 100 years. From the day perhaps 100 years ago, when the sun had hatched him in a sandbank, and he had broken his shell and got his head out and looked around, ready to snap at anything before he was even fully hatched. From that day, when he had at once made for water, ready to fend for himself immediately. From the day perhaps means from the day when he was even not fully, he did not even fully came out from his egg, when the sun had hatched the egg in the sandbank, and he had broken his shell. He got its head out and looked around, and at that time when he was not even fully hatched, he did not came out completely from the egg. At that time only he was ready to snap. Snap means attack on anything or whatever he find, he was ready to attack at it. So this shows that the crocodile was very active from the time of his birth. And he lived by his brainless craft. Brainless craft means he was guided by his instinct. And ferocity. Ferocity means dangerous. Escaping the birds of prey and great carnivorous fishes that eat baby crocodile, he had prospered, catching all the food he needed and storing it till putrid in holes in the bank. Tepid water to live in and plenty of rotten food grew him to this length. The only danger for the baby crocodile was the birds of prey and great carnivorous fishes. And the baby crocodile used to eat whatever he catch. he used to catch the food or prey, and he stored it in the holes of the sandbank till it get putrid. Putrid means rotten. He used to store his food in the holes in the sandbank till it gets rotten. Tepid water means slightly warm water, lukewarm water. He used to live on this lukewarm water and the rotten food which he used to store in the holes in the sandbank, and that is how he grew to his great length. Now nothing could pierce the inch thick armored hide. Armored means protective layer over the body of the crocodile. Now nothing could pierce the inch thick armored hide, not even rifle bullets, which would bounce off. His outer covering or uppermost covering was so protective, so thick, that even the rifle bullets could not penetrate into it. It would bounce off. Only the eyes and the soft underarms offered a place. That means the places which were vulnerable to attack were his eyes and soft underarms. The places on which the crocodile could be attacked, or you can hurt a crocodile on which places? On his eyes and soft underarms. He lived well in rivers, sunning himself sometimes with other crocodiles, muggers, as well as the long-snouted fish-eating gharials, on warm rocks and sandbanks where the sun dried the clay on them quite white, and where they could plop off into the water in a moment if alarmed. So here now nothing could pierce into its armored hide, and not even rifle bullets, it would also bounce off. He used to live with long-snouted fish-eating gharials. Gharials means alligators. On warm rocks and sandbanks, they used to take rest on sun-dried clay, which this clay made them white, and whenever they are alarmed, whenever they feel anything dangerous coming to them, or they are warned against something, they used to plop off, they used to jump off into the water in a moment. Now we have discussed about the food of the baby crocodile. We have already discussed the food of the baby crocodile. What was his food? His food was tepid water and rotten food. Now comes the food of big crocodile. There's a difference. The food of big crocodile and the baby crocodile. The big crocodile fed mostly on fish, but also on deer and monkeys, and that came to drink perhaps a duck or two. But sometimes here at the ford he fed on a pie dog full of parasites, or a skeleton cow, and sometimes he went down to the burning ghats and found the half-burnt bodies of Indian cast into the stream. Beside him in the shoals, as he lay waiting, glimmered a blue gem. The big crocodile mostly fed on which things? The big crocodile fed mostly on fish, deer, monkeys, ducks. Pie dogs means the dogs which are full of parasites. Skeleton cow means skinny cows. And sometimes he went down to the burning ghats where the cremation or funeral of the bodies is done, dead bodies done, and he used to eat half-burnt bodies of Indians. And beside him the shoals means shallows. In the shallow water beside him there lay waiting, glimmered a blue gem. Glimmered means to shine feebly, which was not shining brightly. So there was a blue gem near the crocodile. Now in between the description of crocodile, why the author has introduced this blue gem? Because as the story will proceed, as the story will grow, the protagonist of the story, Sabia, which I told you earlier, a 12-year-old girl, would she will take this blue gem. That is why the name of the story is the Blue Bead, because the whole story is about taking a gem for her necklace. So that is why this blue gem is introduced in between the introduction of the crocodile. It was not a gem though. It was sand-worn glass that had been rolling about in the river for a long time. By chance it was perforated right through the neck of a bottle, perhaps a blue bead. Now, it was not a gem. What it was a sand-worn glass. It was not a gem, but it was sand-worn glass. Sand-worn glass means glass which was covered with sand. That is why it was shining brightly, and it had been rolling about in the river for a long time. By chance it was perforated. Perforated means pierced with holes on both sides. Perforated means pierced with holes on the both sides, just like the neck of a bottle, like the neck of a sometime you must have had a cold drink bottle, and the neck of that bottle, if you see only the neck of the bottle, or you cut the neck of that cold drink bottle, then you will see the holes from both the sides, and that blue gem was like that only, the neck of a bottle, and it was covered with sand, and that is why it was shining bright, feebly. It was not shining brightly, it was feebly. In the shrill noise. Now the description of Sebia and her village is going to start. The description of Sebia and her village is going to start here. It was in the shrill noisy village above the ford. Out of mud house, the same color as the ground, came a little girl, a thin starveling child dressed in an earth-colored rag. There was a village above the ford. There was a village, and above that ford means above that water body, there was a village, shrill, noisy village. Shrill means high-pitched noise was coming from that village. And out of a mud house came a little girl, and she was thin and starveling. These are the things which shows that there are some more things which show that this Sebia, this little girl, is very poor. The very first thing, she came out from a mud house. This shows that she was poor. And the second thing, that she was a thin starveling child. Thin starveling means thin because of lack of food. And child dressed in an earth-colored rag. Earth-colored means full of dust. Rag means torn out or worn out clothes. She had torn the rag in two to make skirt and sari. The rag which she had torn it into two pieces. And out of these two pieces, one of them she would use as skirt and the other she would use as sari. This shows that she did not have many dresses. Sebia was eating the last of her meal, chapati wrapped around a smear of green chili and rancid butter, and she divided this also to make it seem more and bit it, showing straight white teeth. Sebia was eating chapati, and on that chapati a spread of green chili was there, and rancid means offensive or rotten or being rank in taste, being low rank in taste or smell, and that was not good butter. So, and she divided that chapati also. Because it would look more, it would seem more, and she was biting that chapati. With her ebony hair, means dark black hair, and great eyes, and her skin of oiled brown cream, she was a happy, immature child woman, about 12 years old, barefoot of course, and often goosey cold on a winter morning, and born to toil. This paragraph is very much important. In this, the physical appearance of the girl is also given, that she had dark hair, great eyes, and skin of oil brown, means oily brown skin, She was happy, immature child woman. And now, why was she a happy, immature child woman? Why the author has said that she was a child woman? She was a 12 years old girl, but the hard work she did to support her family was like an adult. Hence she is known as the child woman, who was born to toil. Born to toil means born to do hard work, born to do labor. And here one more line shows us that she was a poor girl. Here it is written that she was barefoot. Of course she was barefoot, and it was often goosey cold. Goosey cold means cold which can cause nervousness. It was such a cold weather, and she was barefoot at that time. So these all things shows that Sibia was a poor girl. In all her life she had never owned anything but a rag. She could never purchase anything for herself, but she had only rags. She had never owned even one anna, not a pice, not a pie, even to buy, say, a handful blown glass beads from that stall near the bazaar, where they were piled like stars, or one of the thin glass bangles that the man kept on a stick, and you could choose which color you would have. She did not have even the smallest currency. Means she did not have a coin, even anna, not a pice, not a pie. This shows the currency, not even the smallest currency, to buy even blown glass beads, to buy beads for herself. She had a strong desire to make a necklace for herself. For that she needed glass beads, but she did not have enough money to even purchase even a single glass bead, which were piled in the stalls in the bazaar, and they were shining like stars. And she could not purchase thin glass bangles that the men, means the bangle seller, used to keep the bangles on the stick, and they used to roam in the bazaar, and she could not afford those bangles also. She knew what finery was, though she could not purchase anything, but she knew what beauty was. She had been with her parents and brother all through the jungle to the little town and the railhead where there was this bazaar, and she had walked through all the milling people and the dogs and monkeys full of fleas and idling, gossiping, bargaining humanity, spitting betel juice, heard the bell of sacred bull clonking as he lumped along through the dust and hubbub. She knew what finery was, she knew what beauty was. Now after this, the places and the people she crossed to go to the bazaar, they are mentioned. The places and the people. What did she crossed? She crossed the little town she crossed the jungle and the little town at the railhead. Railhead means the railway crossing, where there was this bazaar, and she had walked through the milling people means the people who used to remove precious metal from the coins. They were also there, the dogs were also there, monkeys were also there, and the fleas means blood sucking insects which are present on the bodies of monkeys. The idling gossiping means people were gossiping, sitting idle, and some were bargaining, some were spitting betel juice, heard the bell of sacred bull. You must have seen the sacred bull with a clonking bell and the cowries and the shells on the cloth which that bull used to carry with him, and there is a man who used to hold that bull, so she could hear the bell of that clonking sound of that bell, and means making dull hollow thumping sound, and that bull, and he lumped means moved noisily and clumsily. That bull moved noisily and clumsily along through the dust and hubbub. Hubbub means a situation in which there is much noise, confusion, excitement and activity. See, in that bazaar there was hubbub, means uproar and noise. She had paused amazed before the sweetmeat stall to gaze at the brilliant honey confection, abuzz with dust and flies. They smelled wonderful above the smells of drains and humanity and cheap cigarettes. At home, she sometimes tasted wild honey or crunched the syrup of a stalk of sugar cane, but these sweets were green and magenta. She had paused. Now the wonders which she has seen. There are mainly 3 wonders which will come in the next paragraph, but these are also the wonders which she had seen in the bazaar. What she had seen? A sweet meat stall. Sweet meat means sweet delicacies, sweet dishes. It is not that meat which is related to non-vegetarian food. It is sweet meat means sweet delicacies. To gaze at the brilliant honey confections means the confectionery items which were made out of honey. Abuzz with dust. Abuzz means the sound of bees, and the dust and the flies were there. They smelled wonderful. These honey confections, these sweet delicacies were smelling wonderful, and there was a smell of drains also. But above the smell of drains and above the smell of this humanities means there were a lot of people gathering, and the smell of sweat and everything was there. But above that smell, these honey confections, they smell wonderful. There was smell of cheap cigarettes also. At home, she sometimes tasted. Now, what Sabia has tasted at home? Sometimes wild honey, or she had crunched the syrup out of stalk of sugarcane. Means sugarcane juice, sugarcane syrup from the stalk of sugarcane she had sometimes at her house. But these honey confections were out of her reach. But these sweets were green and magenta. These sweets were green and magenta, and they were very fine. Then there was a cloth stall stacked with great rolls of new cotton clothes stamped at the edge with the maker's sign of tiger's head, and smelling so wonderful of its dressing straight from the mills that Sibia could have stood by it all day. But there were other wonders to see: satin sewn with real silver thread, tin trays from Birmingham, and a sari which had got chips of looking glass embroidered into the border. Now these are also the wonders which Sibia had seen in the village. There was a bazaar in the village, and in that bazaar she stood at a cloth stall, and that stall was filled with great rolls of new cotton clothes, and there was a stamp at the edge of the cloth. As you buy some clothes, means for Raymonds or something else, so there is a tagline, or there is a maker's sign at the edge of the roll. When you purchase any textile material, so there is maker's sign. So here also there was a maker's sign, and here was a printed tiger head, and this cotton clothes straight away came out from the mill, and it was smelling so fresh and wonderful that Sibia could have stood by it all day. Sibia was liking the fresh smell of that cotton cloth. But there were other wonders to see. What were the other wonders? Satin sewn with real silver thread, tin trays from Birmingham. Birmingham is a place. And a sari which had got chips of looking glass embroidered into the border. These are the 3 wonders. Which were the other wonders which she has to see? She joined the crowd round a Kashmiri travelling merchant on his way to the bungalows. He was showing dawn-coloured silk that poured like cream, and he had got a little locked chest with turquoises and opals in it. Best of all, a box which, when you pressed it, a bell tinkled and a yellow woolen chicken jumped out. Now, what she joined the crowd. There was a Kashmiri traveling merchant. You must have seen Kashmiri traveling merchant in the winter season in your colonies or in your societies. They used to bring all the Kashmiri stuff, the suits and saris and shawls and stoles and mufflers. So this was a Kashmiri traveling merchant, and there was a huge crowd around him. Sibia also joined that crowd. This Kashmiri merchant was traveling to the bungalows, and he was showing dawn colored silk. Dawn colored means earthy colored, or smooth or pale colored silk that poured like cream. That poured like cream means it was very smooth in texture, and he had got a little locked chest. He had silk clothes also. He had a chest also. Chest means a drawer, a box or drawer with turquoises and opals. They are the precious gemstones. Turquoises and opals are the precious gemstones. He had, this Kashmiri merchant also had precious gemstones with him. Best of all, that Kashmiri merchant has a box. When you press the button on that box, a bell tinkled and a yellow woolen chicken jumped out, and there was no end to the wonders of the world for Sibia. But Sibia in all her life from birth to death was marked for work. Sibia, since her childhood, she has done only hard work. Since she could toddle. Now I think I should stop it here only, and I'll continue the story in my next video. So wait for my next video. Thank you.